Limpien sus lagañas o posición y vean el nivel de nuestra presidenta en el inglés.
Of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. She's a rising figure in Mexican politics and one of the frontrunners in the 2024 Mexican presidential elections.
Dr. Sheinbaum, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for coming.
So let's jump right into it. You studied environmental engineering in university, and today you are the head of government of one of the largest cities in the world, over 20 million people in Mexico City. And you're also one of the founders of the largest progressive political party in the region, Morena. Can you tell us about your journey into politics? You went from student activism to being an elected official. What were your politics like growing up?
Well, first of all, my background is physics. I studied physics, then energy engineering for my master and my PhD. And when I was 15 years old, that was the first time that when I was in high school, the first time that I get involved in student mobilization, the student movement, because many people couldn't get into the high school. So I was in, but I was, in solidarity with those that couldn't have the possibility of studying. And then, I get involved in social politics. And it was very important for us in 1988 when the Ingeniero Cárdenas was a candidate for presidency. And it was very important for us because we came from a student movement and we decided, I said us because our generation, and we decided to go to Ingeniero Cárdenas. And later on, I went to the US to study my PhD. And then I returned and I was part of the university. But I was involved from my parents that they were involved in the 1968 student movement. So I was involved in politics. But my main occupation was to be a mother and to be in the university. And in 2000, President López Obrador, when he was chief of government of Mexico City, he invited me to be the Minister of Environment. And I get involved, and later on in 2006 with the electoral fraud, I was, with López Obrador, even though I returned to university. I was, with him in all the movement that finally get into the burn of Morena.
Great. Well, we know that PRI and PAN really maintained a stranglehold over Mexican politics since 1946. In 2016, Morena was founded to be an alternative to this. And in 2018, of course, Morena achieved a historic electoral victory with the election of Andrés Manuel López Obrador. What does this mean for the course of Mexican politics?
In 2016, when Morena was created, nobody wanted to be in Morena because it was a new party. And in Mexico, you have to win a certain percentage of the votes to be an official party. And it was very difficult because just few people wanted to be in Morena. And the decision to get away from PRD, the party that we were, is that, we thought at that time that there was no possibility in their party that was getting very close to the official party. So we decided to create. I said we decided because there were a lot of assemblies in all the country that decided to create this party. And from 2016 to 2022, it's 7 years, and now we have the presidency, 22 governors of 32, the majority in the Congress, the majority in the Senate, and a lot of municipal presidentials. Why? It's because people want to change. And it's a change from economic model. We, neoliberalism now is in the past. And we have now a government that thinks in the majority, thinks in Mexican people rather than thinks in a privileged group. So, and right now we have the majority, and that's because people are, happy, even though a lot of media is against the president and against Morena. People wants this change and wants this fourth transformation, as we call it, to continue.
So one thing that confirms some of what you're saying is the fact that you're currently leading all major voter intention polls for the 2024 presidential election. What do you think has led to this support?
Okay, first of all, I think it's that I have been in the movement always. I've been near President López Obrador, always since 2023 years. And at some point, people remember that I was, in the Adelitas movement that we have in 2008 against the privatization of oil, of the Mexican oil, of Pemex. And I was, in many movements. So they think that I can continue what President López Obrador is doing. The second thing is who I am and what I have done in Mexico City. If they didn't like a scientist and a politic to be a president, they probably don't prefer myself. And also my work in Mexico City. If my job here in Mexico have been bad and people were, against me, but probably I couldn't go, to the next step. And finally, believe it or not, is because I'm a woman. It's now time for women. It's incredibly, it's not only the social movement of young women, and it's also that in Mexico, we have already 9 governors and many women participating in politics, so it's not strange. And at some point, people see that it's good to have a president, a female president.